Hi, welcome to Midday Roast with Team SI. I'm Laney Bird, and Midday Roast is an opportunity for us to share some of the conversations we have around the office about SEO and digital marketing and technology with some of our Facebook fans and our clients and other people out there. While you're listening in today, I want to encourage you to ask a question. If you're listening in on the Facebook Live, you can ask a question in the comments, and Grace will holler it out. We'll answer it live. If you have a question on the blog or the podcast, you can ask a question there, and we'll get back to you and respond to you as quickly as we can. Today on Midday Roast, we're talking about SEO, and I'm really glad to have two of our SEO leaders here with Team SI with us on Midday Roast today. We have John Morgan. John's an off again, on again regular. He helped us start Midday Roast and disappeared for a while, but now we've wrangled him back into showing up. And then we have Jackson Carter, who's one of our new SEO analysts here. Jackson's been with Team SI for a couple of years now and just took a new role with the SEO team. So really excited to have these two guys with us to talk about search engine optimization. But before we get started today, we want to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and share today's Midday Roast directly on my phone, and John and Jackson, I want to encourage you to do that too, so everybody will share it, so we get it out there and get more people out there listening and checking in with Midday Roast. And if you're following along, you should go ahead and share it and like it too, so more people can tune in with us and join in the conversation. All right, so starting off SEO. So let's start simple. What is search engine optimization? And we'll let Jackson start with a simple question. So can you just give us a brief overview of what search engine optimization is, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I think search engine optimization is all about finding different ways to make your site or your content rank higher in Google by using a whole bunch of different methods. And by doing that, you increase traffic to your site, you're getting more impressions, you're getting more clicks, which lead to more conversions, which means more money at the end of the day. And so by doing things like keywords and building great content, you're able to rank higher in Google.
Cool. So definitely it's really more of an art, not a science, of trying to figure out what the search engine algorithm is. And a lot of times we'll use the word search engines interchangeable with Google, because Google's the dominant search engine and has over 80% of the market share. So normally if we're making Google happy, we're making the other search engines happy. But really looking at what we do, what Google's algorithm is. Google tells us what some parts of the algorithm is. Some things they hide, and we don't know. And we definitely don't know the different weight they give different factors. And so it's our search engine team paying attention to trends and what's going on. It's our search engine team doing experiments here in-house, trying to figure out what works and doesn't work, and A/B testing. And then our search engine team applying those to our client sites, to our own sites, to rank for different keywords, different search queries that people are searching on Google. So we've dropped a bunch of terms in the first 5 minutes. So a query is something that someone searches on Google for. The search page you end up is a SERP, a search engine result page, SERP. And then people click on a search. We have click-through rates. Jackson dropped that term in. So the percentage of people who see a link and then click through it. And then we have conversions. So they come to your website and they take an action. The conversion could be spending time on site. It could be watching a video. It could be clicking on a phone number to call, filling out a form, making a purchase. A lot of different conversion methods. So that's the big overview of what SEO is. But John, why should a business be concerned about SEO?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people forget that in a lot of the different stages of the buying cycle, people go to search engines to find answers to questions they may have, information that they're looking for, and also they're looking directly for products. So they may be later in the funnel, they may be looking to take an action or find directions to your store or a competitor store. And if they can't find directions to your store, then that's going to be a negative experience, and so they're going to go somewhere else. So there are a lot of different things that people do on search engines, and that journey needs to be a positive one, and you can be the answer to their question or provide the solution to their problem.
Right. I think what it is, a lot of times people have what we've talked about before, these micro moments, and I think about something, immediate satisfaction. I'm going to go to my phone or to my laptop or my tablet and ask that question immediately in a search engine and then try to find an answer. And it's about creating content that ranks to answer those questions that people have with the micro moments. And in general, across the board, consumer surveys or B2C, B2B, the place people turn to ask questions is the search engines. People turn to their search engine to try to find the answer to whatever question they're having, to do that research on the product or your companies they're looking for. So let's start off. What are search engines looking for, Jackson?
It's a lot of things, I would say. Some of that stuff we don't really know. Google keeps a lot of that stuff pretty tight, but there's a host of things. We know that they're looking for great user interactions and building and content that's good for the user. So they have different ways to crawl that and see how pages and content are built to provide users with great things like that. They're looking for different keywords to make sure that the queries that they're searching for, that the answers come back relevant. They're looking for links to determine whether or not a site is authoritative or not. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff going into just a single search to bring back the answers that you're looking for. But a lot of it, I think, boils down to is content that's built around the user and created for the user with that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, what Google's looking for is that positive content that answers the user's questions succinctly to the point, right? And it's probably the flip side of that coin is, what do search engines look for is how does Google rank pages, John? So what are those big factors that we always know for sure that Google's looking for that's in there? I've mentioned the algorithm before.
Yeah, so this has been a hot topic of debate over the years, and it's changed a lot over the years. Back in the good old days, there were things that we could change on a page, and we could do certain things that would help that page rank higher that we just can't do anymore because they got gamed and cheated so much that we just don't have that opportunity. And because people cheated and it led to a negative user experience, so Google took that away. So the things that we can still change would be like the URL. If the URL has a keyword in it, then that page is more likely to be relevant to that search, and so that's one thing. Another major factor is the page title. So that's what usually shows up in the tab at the top of your browser, and it also shows up usually in the search engine result page. It'll be that blue link text, so Google pulls from that and it gets displayed in the search result. So that can be a factor. The other ones include things like the heading. The H1 element is a lower correlation to higher rankings, so that can be a factor. And then the copy is a big thing too. How much text do you have on the page? Is it all relevant? Did you just write the pages to have content on it, or is it actually useful? So those are a few things that we can talk about.
So I know in the last year we've really talked about with our clients and internally about how much text and content is really necessary for a page to rank well. And I know you've done some experiments with that too. So why don't you share direct feedback about, it used to be, we used to say a long time ago, 5 years ago, 250 words. But what is that number now? Is there a magic number now?
I wouldn't say there's a silver bullet, but a lot of studies have been showing that longer form content, that means content that is 1,000 words or longer, tends to correlate with having higher rankings for keywords that are relevant to that content. So what that tends to show is that if you have 1,000 plus words on your page that is useful and it is all relevant and factual, good, helpful information, then you are more likely to be an authority on that topic because you're talking the talk and you're more likely to be able to walk the walk. So longer form content tends to correlate with higher rankings, but I would throw in that disclaimer that not all keywords, not all queries, people aren't always looking for long form content, so we need to make sure again that we're addressing the user's concern or their question. And so writing 1,000 words to answer a really simple question is not always the best thing.
Right, and there's other ways to rank too besides just writing content. Using a video, posting a video on YouTube. There's a lot of times a YouTube video will show up in rank, so you can actually create content on the page. You can create YouTube content, you can create great social media content, and all those things show up on Google's search engine result page. The other thing is answer box queries that we're seeing a lot of. So it's that note card query answer that Google is popping up above everything else. that just answers the question the person has directly on the search page. So that's another form of content that you can try to create that generates a lot of traffic and especially authority for your page if it's pulling that in. So specifically, Jackson, talk about keywords. How do we know if a keyword is valuable or not?
Well, I think that's all just related to the query itself and kind of what you are looking to do. So if so a lot of things that you read, it takes a big example and boils it down. So like if you've got a shoe store that sells something specific like boots, you don't want to be you don't want to be trying to rank for a keyword that's just shoes on Google, because not only is that such a broad topic that you're going to be competing with everyone that's really not the person that you're trying to go after as well. That's more of an informational query. You're trying to learn just very general topics. And so keywords can be worth more when you get more specific and boil down into the things that you really want to do and find users lower in the funnel, so that you're getting users and people that are going to be more likely to convert. And so if you're looking at a boot store, you want to rank more for a keyword like a boot store, or even something longer, so a long tail keyword, something more specific like a boot store in Little Rock or something like that, or specific to the brand. And so you don't want to, if you're not looking for informational queries especially, you want to be more long tail and more specific in order to do that. And I would say that's where a lot of the keyword worth comes from, is finding out what exactly you want your customer or your person that you're looking for to be.
Yeah, and even to the point that at a certain point a keyword becomes so random and not useful for you to rank for. If only 10 people are doing this search in Arkansas or in Little Rock in the next month, that search isn't valuable for you to rank for unless the 10 people who do that search are a high dollar sale,
Right.
or high dollar commitment. So there is a balance. And just let me point out that Jackson is bringing up boots right now because he wants to point out that I'm the one in the room not wearing boots at this moment. So Jackson and John both wore boots and forgot to tell me that today was the boot day, that I was supposed to wear boots. So,
Every day is boot day at Team Insight for the SEO team.
That's right.
all right, well, that's something new to me. Cool. So when you're talking about keywords and search engine terms and results, so how does a search engine actually determine the relevance and popularity of a result and rank that?
Man, well, there are so many different factors. That one, we could talk all day about that. But so determining relevance. So Google indexes a lot of pages. I mean, they're constantly crawling the web, and they are starting to get really smart with artificial intelligence, machine learning, about being able to build a knowledge base of what words mean behind just like your classic definition of a word. So looking beyond a definition and knowing what the intent of a word is, or just beyond pure synonyms. So really it goes beyond, like I said, just pure synonyms. So they can crawl a page, look at what the topic of that page is, and kind of say, okay, well, what words are related to this topic, and then kind of look at some of those weighting factors like we talked about earlier to say, okay, well, what other sites are linking to this site? What is that site about? And so everything kind of becomes this kind of cloud, almost a word cloud of topics, and how these things are connected together.
So check in for a second, give us a brief overview of how Google A/B tests their results.
Yeah, well, they do a lot of that. They do, what's really cool is they do a lot of testing with actual humans that go in, and they will have a team of humans carry out searches, and so they will look at pages that rank for a given query, and they'll go in and check to see, is this page actually useful, or is this page have any problems, or what would I change about this page? And they'll kind of score that page according to a checklist that they're given. And so what Google does with that information is they come back and they say, okay, well, this testing team said they didn't like this element of what is ranking, so how can we turn that into an algorithm, or change our algorithm to make pages that do help that problem, or change that, or have that feature rank better, or that don't have that feature rank less or rank lower. So
Right, and then they actually do test on us,
all
on
the
the
time.
Google users. They'll
No doubt.
throw us a slight algorithm change into a certain query, and it bumps up a new site result, and if people click on it, are they spending time on that site? Because you've got to realize that Google is collecting information not only from the search engine and their search engine results. Most pages on the internet have Google Analytics running on it too. So Google has time on site and other information besides the fact they can look and see when you return to a search engine too. So they can see how many pages you looked at on your site to see if the users they sent to your site really found that content useful and valuable. So I guess really the next question we talk about what Google is looking for, but what are they not looking for? What does Google not want on your site, Jackson?
Well, I think that boils down into to user experience. They don't want a page that's just built for the search engine. They can tell when you're, stuffing keywords. They can tell when you're just trying to kind of spam and game the system. So a lot of that can do that. They're not looking for Flash. Flash has been something that's been kind of being phased out for a long time now, but that's something that is also not Google or search engine friendly because the bots aren't able to crawl into that and get an idea of what's actually going on inside those Flash elements, and so that's something they're not looking for. And then I think a lot of stuff that people think that they're looking for, like meta descriptions, don't necessarily help in terms of keyword, in terms of ranking. That's nice. We talked about click-through rate earlier. That can help with click-through rate, but you don't need to beef up your meta description in order to rank higher on Google and some of those things. And so I think a lot of it just kind of boils down to some myths that people believe that you're looking for, but then also they're not looking for 500 references to boots in a page when you're looking at that, because they know that you're trying to game the system and doing some of that. They're also not looking for bad links, and so that's another way to kind of game the system, is sending a whole bunch of links from URLs that you've purchased back to your website, well, that they can tell which are good and which aren't, and so they're not looking for any sort of link.
Yeah, and those are all old SEO techniques
Yes.
that we used to use. Some of them are what we call black hat SEO techniques that weren't approved by Google, but at one time or another would work. There's lots of variations of that, and still some of that going on today. We really endorse. I guess the best thing overall is if you create good quality content that's useful to your audience in semantic HTML. It's going to work for Google, and you're going to rank. That's the general theory, and there's specifics about that really require understanding the algorithm. So last question, really, and John and I have worked together off and on 2 or 3 times at several different places, and so we have a history together. But if we look back over the last 5 or 6 years of SEO, John, would have been, I have some big changes in my mind. Why don't you start with a couple of changes, and then I'll throw in some of those changes in the SEO game. One of them is what Jackson just mentioned, the simple gamifying Google, where Google's too smart to gamify. What's another one?
Yep, that is big. I would say the devices that people are searching on is
Definitely.
a big one, and we talked about that a lot. We always talk about the huge increases in mobile search that's continuing to grow, and the decline in desktop searches, and the way that people search on their phone is a lot different from how people search on their desktop device. So the result types are going to change, and so that's something else we can talk about is, when you do perform a search, the results page that you see now is nothing like what you would see even a few years ago, much less 5 years ago or beyond that. It's sometimes you'll see an old article online and they will have a screenshot of an old search result, and it looks it's bizarre how foreign it looks. That never looked like that. That looks archaic, but it's crazy how much they change. And so we've got different maps results now. We've got the ad formats look different now, but it's crazy the testing and the changes that go.
The one thing I was going to go more into the way it looked, specifically with answer boxes, because we had no clue what that was 3 years ago. And with semantic HTML and XML and pulling data actually into the search results from the pages, where you have reviews showing the number of stars, or we saw for a long time where they were pulling pictures in from social media sites into search results. Now the map pack, the 3-pack or the 4-pack, whatever they're showing for your type of query, is huge in search engine results. Basically, Google is trying to just give you the very best experience possible as a user while still creating revenue opportunities for themselves to sell ads. And that's why, we used to have 7 or 8 ads on a search engine result page, and now, there's 2 above. So those ads are a lot more expensive to click on, but it's a lot better user experience. So everything about the Google search experience is how does it work for a user, how friendly is it for a user, how easy is it for you to find the information you're looking for, and that's why they're pulling that answer box information right into the front of the page.
That's right.
All right, anything else search engine wise, Jackson?
That's all I've got.
John, you got last. I think the one thing that we missed that I should have started out with, if we're talking about basics of search engine, is the differences between SEO and SEM. I missed that. So SEM, search engine marketing, are those paid ads. And they say advertisement, the paid ads that appear at the top and the bottom. That's it. It's the only place they appear. And SEO is the organic ranks that we're putting in the map packs and other places. So there's a difference between SEO and SEM. Probably should have started with that. That's my fault. The other thing probably to know about SEO is there's a lot of simple things you can do to rank for your site for SEO. As you get competitive across your region in competitive searches and competitive nationally, it gets a little bit more complicated, and that's why we have our SEO masters here at Team SI. They try to stay ahead of the curve, know what Google's going to do next, and bring our clients to that point. We offer SEO consulting services with a number of different places, and basically SEO consulting where you say, here's what you need to do to rank, and we also offer some complex SEO creation services where we give the results, we give the recommendations, and we actually implement those for you to different services. If you're interested in talking to us more and learning more about working with us on SEO, definitely you can email us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter and ask a question that, or you can call us from the number on our website and reach out to us. So I really appreciate everybody joining us today for Midday Roast at Team SI. Want to encourage you one more time, if you've got a question, if you've been listening, want to know something specific about SEO, go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll get back to you quickly. Thanks.